to the Monstercast.
So like you cut off a million times.
God damn it.
Congratulations.
Is that why Leon Wee star? We gotta do that again. No, hold on. I'm just gonna go and you tell me until I'm no longer cutting out. All right, let's
Okay,
just test.
let's go.
Mm,
You're cutting off. He just died. Rest in peace, true.
mm, I don't know why it's cutting out for me too. Hold on, let me fix my mic.
Okay, so Drew's
God
having
damn it.
difficulties.
I don't know why I'm cutting out when I say
You're so bad at this. That just
Okay.
sounded like a moan.
You know what? I can't. I just. You know what? I'm just not gonna do it for very long.
Okay, let's.
Hold on. Let me try it. Let me see how long I can go.
Oh god, here we go.
Monstercast. Okay, there we go.
So, first update Magical Sanctum. What's your opinion on
Yeah.
Magical Sanctum Update 1?
I think Magical Sanctum had a very strong update one.
I agree. I think it's
Definitely.
probably one of the strongest update ones ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what about Woodland Island Update 1?
That's
Later video. But I will say, yeah, Magical Sanctum Update 1 started the song off strongly.
all right. Where do I
Magical-
begin? Where do I begin on this
Magical
one?
Sanctum update one was like the first update where people like, bro, this sounds like a full song already.
So we got 7 monsters to talk about, and I have to admit, I think all seven of them are amazing, just straight up
I would agree.
bangers.
Same.
I agree with that.
I think obviously Zeester is the highlight of the whole thing, but I am willing to give a highlight to Foo Fly. I think he's massively underrated.
I agree. Flute Fly is great.
And Frondley. Frondley honestly gets better within each update.
I mean, yeah, Frondley is also just a goated monster.
Well, all 7 of them are just absolutely amazing. They come in, they do what they gotta do, and they just like
Hell yeah.
they just made like on their own. The 7 of them just on their own. That's already a perfect song.
I mean, yeah, bro.
If only I could say that as the updates went on.
Yeah, that's a bit of a
Bro,
controversial
what do you got against Deja Jin?
Bro, I like Day Judging. Anyways, so first update, absolutely amazing. Now let's go on. Let's skip a few years. Present day. Let's get started with the first verse.
Let's talk about. Oh
Yeah,
wait, we already talked about
the
this.
first-
Let's talk about Carolong.
We didn't talk about them at all. Leon, you are so bad at this.
Yeah, the first verse is just unchanged throughout
The
the entire
first verse
history
has
of
been the only
Sanctum.
consistent thing throughout the whole runtime.
The one thing that stayed the same.
And I have to admit, it is a really good intro. Just starting off with Knucklehead, Zeester, and the castle base, it sets up the song perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
And then back in
very
like
iconic
update
intro.
1, after that little part, Flute Fly would come in, and that
And Carolong.
no, Carolong didn't come out back then, bro.
You're so
What
bad
are
at
you?
this.
What are you baffling on about, Lian? Okay, anyways. So back in the update 1 days, after the little intro, then you had Flute Fly come in, and I think that was such an critical moment of the song. Just Flute Fly coming in just by himself, well, with Clacula, and then like he is just like the main mood setter. He is what drives everything forward after that. Then move forward to present day, and I have a problem with it because back then it was just Flute Fly and Clacula. I can't talk. Clacula. And I thought that was fine, but now after Deja Jing and Ostex came out, it was okay. And then Carolong came out, and I just think there's too many things coming in at that part. Like I would have definitely
fair.
cut things down.
I've definitely seen people say that Carolong should not play at that part.
I definitely don't think he should have played at that part. Like, okay, here's how I would have done. I would have done Zeester, Knucklehead, that part, and then just Flute Fly coming in. And honestly, you can have everything else coming in after that. I don't care. Just Flute Fly definitely needs to have that part because that's so important.
It's time to shine, really.
It's not just for Flute Fly; it's just for the whole song. It's so important for the song.
So Carolong just should not play there at all.
I it's okay. That part is split into two parts, and
Well, yeah, there's.
it's it, it's just it, everything comes in when Flute Fly comes in, and then it just kind of loops again, but the same thing, and it loses that spice. So if it just had like Flute Fly and Clacula coming in, and then the other three came in, I'd be okay with that. That would
No,
definitely
I can
liven it
see
up.
that working. I think the song definitely was strong when it was just flute fly that part
That I
because it's a very slow melody, so it goes with Zeester very well,
Yeah, it like
and it
it just
adds to that
it's a
very ethnic
natural build
feel
up. It's just a natural build
that
up.
Sanctum has.
And now when you have too many things coming in, just loses that natural build up and just kind of comes
I
at you
think
full
I think
force.
it's I think it's fine since Deja and Ostax come after
Yeah,
Fruit Fly.
Dejajin is more subtle, but Ostax is a lot more blaring.
I don't mind
Yeah.
Ostex and Danger Jing like individually. It's just so many things coming in. Like none of them in particular make me like go bleh. It's just too many things coming in at that very important moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
That being said, I love Ostex and Deja Zing, and I could not give two lesser shits about Carolong.
Same. Ostax is my favorite monster to come out of Sanctum, but I can never determine if like they're coming. No, not that they're covering each other up, or if like they're trying to complement each other because they play at like the exact same parts. Not in the song, but like in each other's own thing.
It's called a harmony.
Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what? There it is. A harmony. They harmonized. There you go. There you have it.
Thank
They
you.
harmonize, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Your mom.
Nice rhyming.
Oh shit.
he
That's
didn't
awesome.
he didn't realize. Good job. That deserves a round of applause. Good job, Drew.
Yeah.
And after that, we get the Kahoot verse.
Then Carolong fucking dips.
Carolong dips.
Paul doesn't want Carolong to play.
Carolong, I don't like that he dips, but other than that, yeah, it's
I don't mind that he dips. I think Carolong makes the verse we literally just talked about. I think it makes for a good hook, but that's just
Yeah.
me.
He disappears.
And when Carolong leaves, it allows you to focus on Kahoot.
not really. Well, not really, cause like then you hear him later with even more stuff. So like,
Yeah, he does work there, at least
so
in my opinion.
I don't see the reason why he had to leave. But besides
Yeah,
that,
that's fair.
I gotta admit, I love Kahoot. Like, such a good
Kahoot
monster.
is goaded.
Yeah, Kahoot is definitely a highlight.
Oh yeah, Mushroom's there.
And Mushroom Boom is actually pretty good in this verse. I will admit
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
I have my own things to say about Mushroom, but we'll do that later.
I'm just, we're just living in the good stuff before the shit fuckery comes around. Oh, have you guys ever heard about Zeester's reverse though? That it sounds weird at first, but it sounds pretty lovely.
All right, well, I'm interested in hearing that later.
I will show you it later, because it's
All right,
very very
awesome.
nice.
Honestly,
I will take your word
already
for it.
imagine it sounding good.
So far, I think the song is already pretty great. It's got a nice build up, somewhat, and it does what it needs to do. Then we go into the next verse, and I want to tear my ears
I'm
off.
not ready to talk about the next verse.
We
yet.
gotta
I have a
talk
few
about the
things I
next
wanna
verse.
share.
We gotta talk about the next verse. Oh dear God,
Are
this
you gonna
next
talk
verse.
about the? Okay, we're talking about the next verse.
All right,
Here we go.
let me just like rewind for a second. Back in the day, 7 monsters only. We got that before that Zeester verse. It builds up, it gets fast, and then bam, all of a sudden it starts to slow down. It's very eerie, it's very dark, it's very solemn, but it's also like nice and empty. Not empty to the point where it's disgusting, but just empty enough to get the job done. Like the correct eerie mood to it. And it worked
Mhm.
amazingly well and also worked perfectly to get into the friendly verse, which is even slower and emptier. So like it was a very important moment to have that slow moment. Fast
I would
forward,
agree.
that doesn't happen anymore. And
Yeah,
dear
yeah.
God,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
See, it made me think we were still talking about update one.
no. Oh God,
You
so
gaslit me, man. What the heck?
modern day Magical Sanctum and Channeling Verse is actually one of the worst things in the entire franchise. I will stand by this till the day I die. I will die on this hill. I don't care what anyone says. I hate it a lot.
That's
Enchantling
fair.
sucks to suck.
I completely disagree, but that's fair.
So as I was
I
saying,
mean, I
like
have my own problems with it,
yeah,
but I can
here.
see. Yeah,
As
or
I
are you
was
talking about
saying,
Psychic Island Land?
before
I mean,
it was
that's kind
getting
of my hate.
slower and slower to get into the friendly verse. Now for some reason it's getting faster and faster. So not only does it not work with the friendly verse, because now that transition's god awful, but now the verse itself is just it gets to be too much after the already fast Easter verse. So it just like that Mushaboom, Larvalus, and Shantling, they just don't work in that verse. It's too fast when it's trying to be slow. That's what I'm getting at.
And this is where
I was gonna agree with you on that actually. Like the reason update one that transition worked was because originally that verse was very slow, so the transition into the Franly's verse was extremely natural.
Yeah, and
But now
see,
everything's bloated, so
there's
it
other
kind of
parts to it. Like
it doesn't have that same impact that
there's
it
other
used to.
parts to it that I have a problem with. Like the fact
I
is that
guess never
Knucklehead
mind.
and Zeester and the Castle Base, like they're going slower and everything else is going faster, and that just clashes so hard. Like hearing that verse on its own, I'm like, just stop what you're doing.
I think the thing with that is that they get covered up anyway.
Yeah, but
So it's like
not
it's
real.
hard to know what the intended tone of the original song is anymore. Is it
Yeah, and
meant
that's
to
what
be
I don't
fast,
like.
or did they just say no? Let's make it
And like I'm
faster.
okay if like a song decides like it wants to like switch it up, but like I'm not okay with that if it's gonna be this inconsistent. Like it doesn't work at all. And that
I
being
think it's
said,
cool though. Like underneath all that fastness, there's like it kind of adds to MSM's customizability, but we're kind of talking about it as a full song.
yeah,
So
and there's other things too. I'd honestly be okay with that verse if it was just Larvalus and Mushaboom, cause even though like everything is, yeah, even though
Oh my
everything's
god,
getting
shut up,
faster,
Yankee.
even
great input, Lee.
yeah, even though everything's getting faster there, I'd be okay with it because at least it was consistent with previous verses. Like if I could hear, I'd be like, yeah, this sounds like the same song. And Chantling comes around, and after Enchantling, I'm just like, this doesn't even sound like the same song anymore. Like, have you heard the Crescendo Moon trailer? Like, it starts off with Enchantling and that whole schmuck, but then like at the end of the trailer, it goes to the friendly verse, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, how is this the same song? That sounds nothing alike, and I the transition doesn't work. It just that verse just doesn't work. It's horrible.
I'll say that I have to disagree. I think Larvalus fills in the dead air that Zeester has, and Mushaboom adds that slight bit of tension.
I think the problem with Enchantling is that it just takes up too much focus. Like
It's too much.
I'm yeah, it's too much. It's a good. I think it's a good sound, all things considered, and it is capable of working well with everything else. It's just the way they went about doing it. It just takes up too much focus
It's like
and
But like
everything.
Billy,
I
And like there
honestly
is spaces where it plays and you can hear things, but then it starts speaking again,
it,
and it's just like
honestly
everything
though,
else is just doesn't exist.
like I can't name a single
feel
thing I like about Enchantling.
I really feel like Enchantling messes up with the chord progression. Like actually, like it really just doesn't sound. It really just sounds off in the song.
I
I
agree with
disagree because
that,
without
sort of.
Enchantling, that verse doesn't even have a melody.
See, I don't know if I would
And I
say
think
messes with
that's
chord
why I'd argue
progression.
Enchantling is important to that verse.
See, I wouldn't
I
say it
have to
messes
agree
with
with
the
high
chord
score.
progression. Like I feel like saying it messes with the chord progression. I I, I don't think it does. It's just what I don't like is the melody. The melody does not fit with the darker parts of the song. Like it sounds heroic and lively, which is the complete opposite of like everything else. And
I can understand that completely, actually.
that and the vocal performance, like the performance is just too much, and I can't stand it.
It's a good vocal performance. I'll give it that.
We're not saying it's a bad performance. It's just, I guess, ill-fitting for the tone.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Nah, it's
Yeah.
bad. That voice actor should have been retired.
Shut
It's
the
almost
fuck
like
up,
he did
Liam.
retire.
He did retire
Shut
after
the
that
fuck
role.
up, Liam.
God. He foresaw Hollow hating him and was too embarrassed to continue working.
If only.
Are you happy with yourself, Hollow? You did this.
I did
If
this.
only-
Maybe
Ruined
I
this man's
am the
career.
bad guy. Maybe I am the
If o-
monster.
If only he voiced Yoma, we would have less Amber haters.
Oh,
Alright.
I
Anyway.
would wish he voiced Yelmet.
Yeah, he would have actually done a great Yelmet, all things considered. Anyway, we talk about things like covering each other up and stuff, and I think what I realize is that maybe it's the other way around. Like, maybe monsters like Larvalus, Mushaboom, and Chantling are meant to be the focus of that verse, and Knucklehead, Zeester, and the castle are meant to be the dead air fillers. And maybe we don't see it that way because we were introduced with those monsters first.
I still disagree.
But I still do agree that in its current state, the transition between those verses is a lot weaker.
We, I disagree with what you said. Like, even if everything came together, I still think it would just it would not work because everything doesn't go.
Because it's not like Zeester
Half
is
and
like
half, it's half-
overplaying it in that verse. Like, it's just a simple dun 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 dun. Like, it sounds good, but it's not the most interesting thing in that verse. It does work when it did work when it was the first update, but there's just a lot more stuff going on that Zeester, you just wouldn't focus on it when you have enchantling and shit in that verse.
it's too bloated. That verse, it's too bloated despite it having no monsters. It doesn't work.
You're being very confusing with what you're saying, Hollow.
Okay, well, what am I trying to say?
Yeah, you said it has no monsters.
Well, what I'm saying is that
Okay, I'm sorry.
Zeester and
Poor
Knucklehead
choice
and
of words.
Castle are very minimal in that verse, so you wouldn't even be able to focus on them because you have Mushroom, very fast rhythm, Larvalus, again, very fast, and like Enchantling just being extremely demanding of intention. You just wouldn't focus on the more simpler stuff in that verse when there's more intricate things going on. It would just be like filler.
Not really, cause
All right, how come?
it comes down to tone. I've been saying that a lot, but it just comes down to tone. The reason I don't like Larvalus, Mushroom, and Channeling, they don't match the tone of the other things that are going on in that verse. And the things that are going on in that verse, like Knucklehead, the bass, Zeester, they're like the foundation of the verse. So that's why I don't like it that much or at all. Because the foundation is clashing with what's put on top of it.
I'd argue Larvalus is the foundation.
I wouldn't.
I'd argue that Larvalus, Zeester, and Mushroom all complement each other very well.
I would argue that. Well, I could see Larvalus and Mushroom. I could get behind that. It's just Enchantling that completely dunks on it.
That's fair. Like, I've seen people not like the monster in past. Like, we're not saying you can't hate the monster. Like, it is valid to dislike Enchantling. There are valid reasons to dislike the monster.
Yeah,
I just personally would argue that it is more important, but it's okay to not like it.
Basically, to summarize, like with Larvalus, with Mushroom, it's fine. I'm okay with it. But as soon as Enchantling came around, it just went to complete shit.
I can respect the opinion though, because again, I can see why people wouldn't like it.
Yeah, and then we got the Fronley verse.
Yeah, I will still agree with you all that the transition is worse than it was before.
It is, but then the Fronley verse comes up.
Holy shit! Good day!
Good day! Let's go!
Good day, good day.
Yes! Yes!
God, this is my
Should
legacy.
we give the viewers context here, or?
No, they can do without context.
No, we did.
Alright.
No one gets to know.
No one gets the context.
Okay, once upon a time.
No, shut it. No context.
No, we need to do the first update first because that's like
We already
G'day was in the first update.
Bro, I don't think anything has changed since the first update other than G'day.
G'day is just there.
G'day it sure is a monster. It sure plays a sound.
All I will say is that I do think it does help transition from Enchantling's verse to Fronley's verse.
I mean, I guess.
That's all I'll say.
definitely.
I
G'day.
I guess. G'day is
G'day.
the monster of all time. That being said,
Mhm.
I really like that verse. Fondly and uh, Flores, moi, perfect, amazing, glorious.
Yeah, we talked about them a bit
Oh, in
earlier, but yeah,
response,
Frawley
yeah.
is a goated monster.
Fondly, like I
Yeah.
love his concept so much. Like this humming monster with like these echoes and added effects. Man, it just works so well.
I didn't even know it was vocal effects at first. I used to think it was like a string ensemble.
Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they go hard regardless, but like,
Yeah, the Fromley verse is definitely good because it goes like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, this is why high scores the
Dun 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 dun.
because the Fronley verse is easily one of the best verses of Magical Sanctum.
Yeah, and we
it is, dude. Like, have you heard Flores and the Castle alone? Like, it is. You wouldn't even, if you told me that was an MSM, I wouldn't believe you.
And then we have G'day, but giving support to Fronley like.
I never understood G'day because like he's base, but Castle base already exists.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
G'day is more base in that than the actual castle.
That's
I'd
true,
argue the
honestly.
Castle in that verse is better.
See, I don't really care.
Well, it was better on update 1, but now G'day is kind of needed, so the transition isn't that bad.
And Mushaboom absolutely serves in that verse. I have to say.
I
Oh yeah, Mushroom's there.
Yeah, it serves. It actually does make the transition better to the next.
It's harmless. I don't mind it
You
there.
did mute the third track of Mushroom, so I kind of want you to talk about it.
honestly, that's just a preference thing.
Why
Like
would you say that?
it's just a preference thing. I like it there.
Yeah, if it's a preference, I can understand that. Because like sometimes I'm like, dang, is it better or worse than Mushroom there?
See, one thing
Yeah,
I do not like about Mushaboom is that it's the transition. I wish he played his gong just coming into
I
that
was
other
gonna
verse.
say that, like, Mushroom should play its gong more.
I feel like his track that he plays in the Enchantling verse should be swapped out with the one he plays in the Zeester verse.
Yeah, like whenever Mushaboom like starts playing in a verse, it should start with that track.
What can I say? I love my gongs.
Speaking of,
In gongs we trust.
In gongs we trust. Then we go to the Zeester verse again.
In dongs we trust.
So next Zeester verse, Deja
Next
Jing
verse
is
is
out,
Probably
but
my least favorite verse in the song.
I mean,
This
it's
is
just a
a
reprise.
verse.
It's
Yeah, it is
just there.
I mean, I like it now because it has Carolong.
Plus Carolong.
plus ratio.
I mean, the
And
reprise is
plus
there.
Carolong plus ratio.
Plus Carolong, plus ratio. I'm just gonna stop. Anyways,
Yeah, honestly.
Oh yeah, shout out for Fronley playing in that verse. Though.
Okay,
That's
Fronley is like the one thing that actually makes that verse like actually worth existing.
And Carolong.
And
I have
Carolong.
to say, Carolong absolutely served in that verse.
See, I dunked on him earlier.
There's a lot that serves in that verse. Like Fronley and Offstacks do it pretty well.
Oh, true.
Let's
That one is so sexy.
Let's not forget our man Kahoot, the one who unlocked.
Oh yeah, Kahoot also came back in
That
verse
was
as well.
that was a glorious moment.
Not just came back, he unlocked that verse.
Oh yeah, true.
He favors the verse,
Yeah,
and then
the
you can
thing
actually
about
hear it.
this verse is that I really wish Mushaboom played the gong there. That's why I said.
I agree too.
I mean, everyone wants there to. Everyone wanted him to do that.
Just played his gong more. Sanctum's like half of the problems of Sanctum would just go away.
Yeah. That being said, I dunked on Carolong earlier, but I have to admit he's pretty good here.
I agree.
Him and Kahoot are a very disgustingly good duet.
Yeah.
Not much else to say. Then we get into the final verse, and
everybody, warning! You're in for a hurricane with this.
Here we go again.
I have to warn you. Click off the video now. Actually, don't.
Do not.
You're about to get into a hurricane with this verse.
No.
Do not click.
Wrong.
Click off if you value your safety and sanity.
Do not. You already hate us. Just hate us more.
Actually, wait. No one values their sanity anymore. Just keep watching.
True.
We're taking them down with us.
Let's talk about objectively the worst verse in Sanctum and probably the worst verse in the game.
absolutely incorrect. You are high.
Here we go again. Let me get my popcorn.
I have my own things to say about it, but I'll get to it when we get to
I
it.
guess I'll go first. So let's, if we're talking about the verse, let's take the original seven. Let's put in Deja Jang and Kahoot, and then I
I
like
feel
it.
like we need to talk about it when that verse first unlocked, which is when G'day was added.
When?
Because that's when they intended. That's when they intended that verse
Well,
to be
that
heard.
sort of back. You could hear that verse back in the
Back in
original
Yes,
update,
but that was a
No,
glitch.
actually,
It wasn't meant
but
to
it
be.
well, it
Back in
wasn't
the
meant to
day,
be
it was a
heard. But
I mean,
secret
if we
verse.
know about Hollow, he loves glitches.
oh, I love glitch growl. Anyways,
Back in the day, it was a secret verse.
it was the secret verse, and everyone was
Yeah.
gassed up about
And
it.
that was how you could farm views.
Exactly. You could just get all the clout from just doing that. Anyways, if we're gonna go about it back when G'day came out, then I mean, it was alright. It wasn't spectacular or anything. It was serviceable as an ending verse. Then Rorik came
And
out. It was fine.
got worse.
It got worse with Rorik, and then it got unlistenable with the Chantling. Cause oh my god, that enchantling in that verse is it single-handedly ruins the verse. Before it was okay,
It
but
plays 4 times in a row.
why does it play so much? First of all, it and Rorik
Is
are
that
horrible
Yeah, it
together.
actually makes it repetitive.
Yeah,
I
that
disagree. I don't get why people say Enchantling and Rorik do it bad.
cause it there. First off, the rhythms just don't
I
go
think
well.
it's I think it's I think it's because people say Rourke sounds better like the previous verse.
And
I
well,
don't know.
whatever. I would
see
like
people
Rorik
say
too.
like, "Oh, Enchantling should play in the last 2 verses."
Honestly,
That's fair, but like I like it in all 4 of
I
them.
just don't think Enchantling should say
Imagine if
anything.
Enchantling and Rourke called in response.
Bro, see, that's what I was
Nah,
gonna
I don't
say.
like that.
It actually kind of makes it better, in my opinion.
No, that's fair.
That being said, Enchantling himself, like he plays for too much. Like all you're hearing is the same Kyuya Hyo, like 16 times in a row. It gets on my
Yeah,
nerves.
I will say like if you just turn Enchantling down, it's fine. But like as Enchantling is, like when they add it in game, it's like it covers up everything that plays there. So like you don't even notice the more cooler and complex stuff that goes on.
You're just hearing
Like
Kyuya Hyo.
Flores.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like, but that being said, that verse does have some really good things. That
Yeah, there are good things in there.
that
don't get me wrong.
trio of Kahoot, Flores, and Floret. Oh God, Kahoot,
Yeah,
Franly, and
Flores was added
Flores.
to this. They made Flores a monster again.
That was such a insanely good trio. But
Yeah, the
unfortunately,
Flores and Fronley do it. That went insane.
Yeah.
sadly,
Flores,
it all
Not
gets
today.
mucked up by Enchantling and all that stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even really hear it.
G'day being Fronley.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
I will
guess.
say I really like G'day in that verse.
Yeah, G'day in that
I'll
verse
give G'day
goes
this.
hard.
It does the exact thing Fronley does, but I think it works better than its first track.
I'll give G'day this. He has a great song font.
Yeah, it is a great
Yeah.
didgeridoo.
That's
It's hard
about
to
as far as
even
my praise
find
goes.
didgeridoo sound fonts, so props to them.
It's hard to find didgeridoos or like a sound font that can capture like everything a didgeridoo can didgeridoo. A dumb tiss.
Arrow, how about you didgeridoo don't?
Just didgeridoo already.
Why must you do this to me?
L.
Well, if I had to give my opinion on the last verse, I'd say it's not bad. In fact, I think that verse could be seen as a powerful end to the song and to the magicals as a whole.
I would also agree with that if Enchantling wasn't as blaring as it was.
I think this verse is horrible. And
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
purely because of
there's still more I
Enchantling.
want to say. Like, I think the entire build-up of things that happen in there is really cool.
Okay, I do
because
agree with
You
that.
have Larvalus and like Deja Jin. And
See,
then
that's the
Rorik
thing.
comes in,
That's the thing. Like
and then when
before
Rorik
Enchantling,
stops,
everything just
like,
flowed
Kahoot
so
comes in,
nicely.
and then every vocal is like playing at the end.
Wait, we need to hear Hollow.
Yeah, like, that's what I was gonna say. Before Enchantling, everything flowed so nicely together. But then
Yeah.
Enchantling came out. Just that. I'll just say this: the reason I don't like this island is purely because of Enchantling. He's the number one reason.
I mean,
No,
of
that's
course,
completely
the 4 of
fair.
us have known that for a while, but like, yeah, that's fair.
Editor, put a picture of 2 police cars crashing.
No. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, I in its final state, that ending verse is honestly just noise. It it's just noise.
I sadly have to agree. I mean, if you with some fine tuning, that verse honestly is like one of my favorite verses in the game. But I have to agree, like if you're just listening to like a normal video with like bass, the way things are made, like it is kind of noise with everything, and it makes me sad.
See, there are some bad verses in MSM. This verse, this is a bad verse. It's
And it's not even like it's like oh like the composition is shit. Like
Yeah, it's not
it's
even
good
like that
stuff.
it's bad
It's
from the.
just like
Yeah, it's
there's
not
no
even that it's bad
focus.
from the. It's not even that it's bad
Like
from
the
the
good
start.
shit gets covered up, the bad shit like there's not enough stuff working together when everything should just be allowing.
see, and that's what bothers me. Because before you got Deja Jing, Kahoot, Flores, Fronley, they all work perfectly together. But then, oh god, in its final state, everything just it's so
I
muddy
think
and noisy.
the I think a thing to consider is that it's not like seasonals. No, seasonals were planned. It's not like freaking mythicals or like Wubbox where it's like it wasn't like an addition to a complete song. Like this song was complete for years.
I mean,
So
I don't think any of the mythicals ruined the song.
well, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like it's not like they made the song up as they went along. The song was complete forever.
Yeah, and it's
So it's like
sad
to
to see it.
them it sounded acceptable.
Yeah, and it's sad to see it end in such a low note.
Again, I've said it already, but like it's valid to dislike the monster, and I agree there are things to
See, the
dislike
thing
about
about
it.
Enchantling, I feel like with when they were making the monster, they wanted it to like impress people and like be like this flashy list. They wanted you to see Enchantling and go, "Wow." And instead what
Especially
they
after we
I
got,
saw
mean, it did
Pikachu and
work.
Blow.
Most of the community really likes Enchantling.
see,
All
that's the
things I
thing.
said.
It worked for a week, then people started to like hate on it cuz it just got very old very quickly. So then it went from wow to
I
wow, I'm
mean,
tired of this. Turn it off.
we like blame all of this on like Pikachu and Blow.
Well,
No,
no.
because
Why?
with the magic,
Why?
Why would you
we won't
blame
get
it on
into that.
those two?
The thing with that is that those were fire islands.
They were previously fire islands, then they made them into magicals. This island purely magical all the way through.
Yeah, this island, like they had their plan.
Yeah,
But you
and
know, that's something I really considered, like them just wanting to wow people.
yeah, and it
That
was
is an
very
interesting way
short
to look
lived.
at it. Not that it was the reason, but that is interesting to think about.
Like I specifically remember everybody just gassing and channeling up, but then like 1 2 weeks later, everyone just got very tired of it.
It did. I would argue it at least deserved it at the time. But
See,
like, even I still had problems with it. I was like, dang, this monster, it's too much. But like, again, with some fine tuning, it's like, yeah, I like this monster.
Enchantling's my least favorite, but I see what
You can at least see the appeal. Like, it's not like it was completely terrible and it was gassed up for no reason. Like, there's good stuff with it.
yeah.
Like, especially the face, like the mask it has and how it lights up and the lanterns. Like, I mean, that's just Sanctum's aesthetic in general, but it works really good for a monster.
they really went
Freaking
through with that.
Sasquatch monkey look.
Yeah,
Well, that's everything that's needed to be said. We gotta run the
yeah. And
outro.
they have saying all you need to know is that Sanctum is a very controversial island, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't get mad at people for
And I'm
thinking
pretty
differently.
See, that's kind of
All
the
right,
thing.
Hero, run the outro.
Hold on.
Okay, give me a second.
Hold on, give me a sec. See, that's
Thank
kind of
you
the thing
for
about Sanctum. Every time I talk to people, nobody in the planet has at least one monster in this island that they don't absolutely despise. That's kind of what
I was
I've
gonna
been
say that
seeing.
too. Like everyone has
Oh,
this one
yeah,
monster they hate on this island.
Okay, thank you for watching, everyone. Make sure to like, comment if you want, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to subscribe to our channels as well. Me especially, I need that talk show. And we'll see you next time. I hate my life.